Hi, good evening.
How are you?
Hope you had a nice Shabbat. Baruch Hashem, thank God.
Good, good. Baruch Hashem.
Good afternoon.
Oh, it's still afternoon by you?
Yes.
Lucky you. All right. Okay. All right. So I think we were like at the end of this chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we did this one. This one is done. Oh, let's see. Right. Yeah, so it looks like we finished everything in the Beit Yosef. And I think we did the Shulchan Aruch too, so I think we're pretty much done with it. Yeah, so we're going to go to the next chapter. I just checked to make sure that we finished everything. Give me a second. Yes, okay, so we're going to Mem Zayin, starting a new chapter. Very good. I'm just pulling it up here. Okay, so it says in the Torah like this. Birkat Torah, it says, now we're getting to the blessings of the Torah, right? The Birkat Shachar, we're pretty much done with it, I guess. So we're doing Birkat Torah. So it says, Me'od tzarich lizaher, but you have to be very careful with Birkat Torah. Blessings of the Torah. Kedita b'nedarim, like it says in Nedarim, Pek elu nedarim, over there it says, Mipnei mat tamidei chamim el mitzuin. That said, Mibnehem tamidei chamim. Oh, look what it says, right? This is, by the way, like a fundamental question in Judaism. And I'll explain to you what that means. So it's asking the Gemara like this. The question is, why is it that the sons of the rabbis don't always come out to be rabbis? You would think, right, that they should, right? It's like you inherit your father's position, like father, like son, right? This kind of thing. So why doesn't it turn out like that? So the truth is, over there, it brings several reasons why that is, but one of them he brings here, which is that says Amar Ravina Amar mipnei she'en mevarachim b'Torah techila. He says one of the reasons is because they don't bless on the Torah. In other words, they learn Torah, but the problem is they don't bless on it before they learn. So what's the problem with that? The problem is that it seems like you're being very unappreciative. Like you don't bless for the Torah. You just want to dig in and learn, enjoy the learning, but you don't want to pay your dues. So they tell you, listen, you got to be more careful about things like this. So therefore, they punish sometimes they punish the rabbis by not giving them sons who are rabbis. Why is that? Because they weren't so careful to say Birkat Torah, blessings of the Torah. Interesting. So then he goes on. Rav Yehuda, Demar Rav Yehuda, says Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, in the name of Rav, my dictive, what does it mean when it says, Mi ha'ish hachacham, who is the wise man, ve'evenet zot, and he'll understand this thing. Right? Ve'asher diber pi Adonai elav, and the word of God is in his mouth. Ve'agida alma avda haaretz, and he should tell us why was the land destroyed, right? The land of Israel. Davar zeh nish'al rachamim. They asked this question to the rabbis, v'nevim, and to the prophets, u'lemalchei hasharet, and to the angels. V'lo pirshua, they didn't explain it. Nobody had an answer. It says ad shepirsho HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'atzmo, until Hashem Himself explained the answer. Shneimar, as it says, Vayomer Adonai al ozvam et torati asher natati lifnehem velo shame'u bekoli velo alechu ba. So what does that mean? They abandoned my Torah, he says, that I gave to them, and they didn't heed to my voice, and they didn't go in the ways of the Torah. So Gemara asks, right, what does this mean? What's the meaning of this? What does it mean they didn't hear my voice? And they didn't go in that way. Amar Rav Yehuda, says Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav Nir Rav, the problem is they're not blessing for the Torah before they learn Torah. They're not doing the blessings. So he says you have to bless whether you're learning Bible or Midrash or Mishnah or Talmud. The Talmud, no matter what part of your Torah you're learning, you have to bless on it. So he says this is the proper text of the blessing. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah. Right, this is the first blessing that we do. Al divrei Torah. The Nusach Ashkenazim, but the Ashkenazim, he says, they say a little bit different. They say la'asok b'divrei Torah, to toil in the words of Torah. Ha'arev na Adonai Eloheinu. So then it says, right, sweeten now God at divrei Toratecha, the words of your Torah befinu in our mouths, ufiyot amecha bet Yisrael, and the mouths of your people, house of Israel, and we should be in our descendants and descendants and descendants. Kulanu yodei shemecha, all of us knowing your name. Velomedei Toratecha, and learning your Torah. Baruch atah Hashem, hamelamed Torah le'amo Yisrael, the one who teaches the Torah to his people Israel. And some also conclude with this, right? Baruch atah Hashem, noten haTorah. Ve'en lachtom, he says you shouldn't conclude Baruch atah Hashem, lamedeni chukecha, right? Which is a verse. What does that mean? This verse, right? Teach me your statutes. Blessed are you, God. Shena lamed bracha, lashon bracha. So it's not a blessing, this thing. the Odah or Thanksgiving, the Shavar on the past. Rather, it's really a request from Hashem that He should give me Torah to learn. But David Derech Bakasham, so it says David said it like as a request. What does that mean? Adonai Shata Baruch, Hashem, that you are blessed. Lamadeni Chukecha, teach me your laws. V'yesh lomar ve'arev na bevav. So he says this part ve'arev na you should say with a vav. Ki bracha echati, because it's one blessing. So it should be connected. Im la'asok b'divrei Torah, with the part of to toil in the words of Torah. Sheru hayta bracha b'fnei atzma, because if it was a blessing by itself, hayta potachat bebaruch, then it would open it with the word baruch. So he says, therefore, you shouldn't answer amen after la'asok b'divrei Torah, because it's not the end of the blessing there, just the middle there. Oh, the yesh bracha. So there's also another blessing, Torah on the Torah. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher bachar rabbeinu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, right? That chose us from all the peoples, gave us His Torah. Baruch atah Hashem, noten ha'Torah. Blessed are you, Hashem, you gave us the Torah. V'chaven b'birkato, so he should have in mind with his blessing al ma'amad har Sinai, on the giving of the Torah on Har Sinai. Asher b'achar banu mikol ha'amim, he chose us from all the nations. Mikilvanu lifnei Har Sinai, he brought us close to Mount Sinai, and he let us hear His words from the midst of the fire. He gave us His Torah, Kedosha. He gave us His holy Torah, Shehi Bet Chayenu, which is our life. Right, that's our life. This is our beloved utensil, whatever you want to call it, right? Kli. That he was studying every day. If he's coming to learn right away after Kriyat Shema, and the blessings, Shacharit, in the morning, you don't have to bless. So he says, you know why? Because the second blessing, which comes before Kriyat Shema, Shehi Ahavat, which is the one Ahavat Rabbah, right? We say Ahavat Olam, that's fighting. Yesh ba men brachat birkat Torah. There you will have something like a blessing of the Torah. Therefore, it fulfills the obligation from there. The dafka im lomar miyad acharya. That's only if he's learning right away afterwards. But if he already made an interruption in between, so then it doesn't really do the job of absolving you from the blessings of the Torah. So if he's learning right away afterwards, it does fulfills obligation. Or sheberach brachat Torah, or he blessed the blessings of the Torah, and he started to learn. And then he stopped learning. He doesn't have to bless the whole day, that's it. He fulfills obligation. If he's always regular to learn Torah, so even if he's going now to his job, right? He's got his business, he's got his work, whatever it is. He quickly does his needs, that he should come back and learn more. In other words, he wants to go finish his job as fast as possible to learn more Torah. Right? So it's not considered to be interruption for the sake of the bracha. Even if you're studying at night, The night goes after the day, afterwards. Therefore, you don't have to bless again. As long as he doesn't sleep. And if he did sleep, says the Rosh, right? They asked him a question. Let's say a person sleeps in the daytime in his bed, right? Al mitato. Is it considered to be interruption that he has to come back and bless again the blessings of the Torah? That's what he says, that it is. It is considered to be. But he says if he just takes a nap, while he's sitting on his elbows, whatever, that's just considered to be a nap. It's not permanent sleep. And therefore it's not really a interruption. Even if he slept on his bed, and he didn't sleep, it's not considered interruption. Why? Because as long as he's awake, he still has his mind on his learning. Adkan, that's what it says in the Rosh. Says the one who gets up early in the morning to study before he goes to the shul, he should bless the blessings of the Torah. And when he reads the parsha, the portion of the constant offering, right, the daily offering, when he reads that portion, Bet HaKnesset, the shul, he shouldn't come and bless again. Even though the one who reads the Torah, he has to bless again. That he chose us from all the nations. Even though he already blessed all the blessing, before reading the daily offering. It doesn't resemble one the other. Because that blessing was only decreed regarding the reading of the Torah, but tzibur, in public. Just like the blessing afterwards, right? Also, same thing. Says also the Rosh wrote, he says, a person who gets up to learn in the morning, before the morning, right? Before dawn. First you got to do Natilat Yadayim, and then Asher Yatzar, right? And then Elohai Neshama, the blessings of Birkat HaShachar. B'chol Seder HaBarachot, all the blessings, you should say. Birkat HaTorah, and also blessings of the Torah. U'Parashat Tamid, and also the daily offering. Lo ikra ad sheyor hayom. That you shouldn't read until it becomes dawn. Shei b'makom akravat tamid. Why? Because that's coming, as a replacement for the bringing of the daily offering. She'en zmano ela bayom. The time of that daily offering is only in the daytime, so therefore you cannot really do it at night. That doesn't correspond properly. Also, he says this blessing, which is talking about the rooster. You didn't hear the rooster yet, so you shouldn't bless it, right? That's what it says. You should only do it at daytime, adkan, right? But as we said, right, according to the Kabbalah, according to the Arizal, you can do all these blessings already if you slept, right, and you got up after midnight, and you want to study now, right? Late night, you want to study Torah, you can do already all these blessings. And if you didn't sleep, you just stayed up at night late. Once it's midnight already, halakhically speaking, you can already do Birkat HaShachar, but not Birkat HaTorah. Why? Because Birkat HaTorah, you're only going to be obligated when the dawn comes. So keep that in mind. But according to the Rambam, you should do all these blessings in the morning, when the dawn comes. So there's like a machloket, there's a dispute between the Rambam and the Kabbalah. Most people, as we said, right, we mentioned already, they do like the Rambam. Some people, who are very spiritual, they like to do like the Kabbalah, whatever. We talked about that a little bit. Okay, so that's the story there. That's the end of the chapter. It's a short chapter. Okay. Short one. All right, let's see the Beit Yosef. So it says Beit Yosef. מפני מה תלמידי חכמים אין לצורים לצאת ביניהם תלמידי חכמים. That's what you mentioned, right? The Gemara asked in Masechet Nadarim, Pei Aleph Amud Aleph, why don't the children of the rabbis turn out to be rabbis? So according to this answer, because they're not blessing, right? They're not blessing the blessings of the Torah before they study Torah. That means to say that what? When you first start, starting Torah, when you start to study, every day, so it says these rabbis who are very fastidious, to study Torah every day. But then they're very regular, it's like second nature by them. Right? So because of that, they're not really so careful to bless the blessings of the Torah sometimes. They just like jump straight in, without blessing. And that's very improper to do that, as we said. Because you're turning the Torah, what's the reason why? You're turning the Torah into some kind of a, like a profession, It's just something regular, just like any other discipline, But the fact that you bless with it, you bless for it, shows that it's something special, something divine. And if you don't do that, so you're like disgracing the Torah. That's the problem. Okay, good. So goes on to say, it says the blessing says that we and our descendants should be lomdei Torah, the studying Torah. He also writes this book, Rabbeinu Agadol Mari Abuhav Zal. So this rabbi Katav, he wrote Shatam Shenam Zochim. The reason why they don't merit Levanim Talmidei Chachamim, tell children who are Torah scholars, because they don't bless for the Torah. So why is that? Since they don't bless for the Torah, he says, that shows that they're not doing it for the sake of a mitzvah. Just like a profession they're doing, like some kind of a profession. So he says that's the reason why they don't have the merit to have like a chain of Torah scholars, one after the other. Lo yamushu. So he says they should not come away. They should not go away from our mouths. The words of Torah, mipicha, from your mouth. That's from Ishayahu. So it goes on. And regarding what he said, they don't bless whatever. Katab Shemaran says the Ran regarding that. Shamaran. B'Shem Rav Rabbeinu Yonah. The name of Rabbeinu Yonah. The Kara Hakik Diak. Right. This is the way the verse is explained. The Al Shalom Baruch B'Torah Tchila. Since they don't bless for the Torah in the beginning before they start to study Torah, Avda Haaretz, because of that the land was destroyed. The im ita the im the al azvam Torati, because if it was really true that it was just because of the fact that they don't study Torah at all, kepashte, like the simple meaning of this verse, mashma she'azvu et Torah ve'lo hayu oskim ba. So that implies that they already they altogether abandoned Torah. They weren't studying Torah at all. כשנשאל לחכמים ולנביאים למה לא פירשו ולא דבר גלוי היה, so when he asks the rabbis and the prophets, why didn't they explain it? Right? Wasn't it something revealed? But kal lefaresh and easy to explain. So he says, therefore you must say like this, that they were actually learning Torah. That's not the problem. Right? In the Second Temple era, there was a lot of Torah study there, big scholars, big scholarship there. So that wasn't the problem. The problem was that they were not blessing in the Torah. So therefore, the rabbis and the prophets were wondering, why did the Second Temple get destroyed? After all, everybody's learning Torah. Baruch Hashem, they're all scholars and this and that. So why did it get destroyed? So it says, until Hashem explained it, he himself explained it, because he knows what's in people's hearts. He knows what the real truth is. They weren't blessing for the Torah. That was the problem. Techila, in the beginning, before they start to learn Torah. So what that means is, practically speaking, right, de facto, what does that mean? That the Torah is not important in your eyes, right? It's not something special in your eyes. It's just like any other discipline, and that's not what it's supposed to be, right? It's not really so, that you should at least, take the time out to bless on it, excuse me. I guess you don't have the time, you're too busy, don't have time to bless. Right? So it goes on to say, that shows you that they were not doing it for the sake of heaven. There was one rabbi, I heard in his name, one of the famous rabbis of our generation. You know what he said? He said, even if there was no Olam Haba, even if there was no world to come, he says, I would learn Torah anyway. So why do I tell you this, right? It's kind of like a strange statement, right, a little bit. But what he meant to say is that I enjoy it so much, and it's so good. I don't really care about Olam Haba. I don't care about the world to come. I just enjoy doing it. It's just very enjoyable. That's what he said, So the truth is, right, there's a little bit of a danger when you say that. Exactly what we're saying over here. You know what I mean? If you're doing it because you enjoy it, and you don't realize that it's just more than that, it's more than entertainment, It's very holy. It's the name of God there you're doing there. You're working with there. So there, like the Zohar Kadosh says, right? It says Zohar Kadosh, the whole Torah is one name of God. So, you're not just working in some discipline, You're not in university taking some college course, Bible, religion, theology. This is Torah. It's very holy. Understand? So therefore, you have to learn it with reverence. How do you show that? By blessing for the Torah. Oh, that's the thing. Okay, very good. Let's go on. So he says, that's what it means. It says, that's what it means, that they were not going the path of the Torah. They were not doing it for the sake of heaven. That's what this pious rabbi said. Says it's proper to say that. Lemi Shaman, for the one who said it, Adkan Lashon Haran. That's the language of the Ran. Okay, beautiful. So now we'll see the Shulchan Aruch. Aleph. Very nice. So it says the Shulchan Aruch Aleph, something very simple, right? To sum up the whole thing. Birkat HaTorah tzarich lizaher ba me'od. You have to be very careful with Birkat HaTorah. Don't play around with that. So what does that mean? Don't learn Torah without blessing the blessings of the Torah, because you're disgracing the Torah like that. You're turning it into some kind of a discipline, some kind of a college course, whatever, God forbid. So that's the thing, you got to be careful about that. And by the way, just to mention this, something which is related to that, is that there's a machloket, in the poskim, if the blessings of the Torah, they are from the Torah or from the rabbis. So the Ramban says, that it's from the Torah. But most of the other poskim, they hold that the blessings of the Torah are from the rabbis. So we hold that, as a general rule, halacha is that it's from the rabbis, it's not from the Torah. So what are the only blessings which were from the Torah, by the way? All the blessings are from the rabbis. The only blessings that are from the Torah are which ones? Anybody know?
Birkat Hamazon.
Yeah, that's it. Birkat Hamazon, right? The grace after meals. Why? Because it says in the pasuk, right? Ve'achalta ve'savarta u'berachta et Adonai Elohecha. So it says in the pasuk, right? When you eat and be satiated, you have to bless the Lord your God. So therefore, right, that's the rule. But all the other blessings are from the rabbis. But nevertheless, right? Don't think it's a joke. It's not a joke, right? Very, very crucial, very, very important to bless the blessings of the Torah. Okay, very good. So let's go to Bet. By the way, there's a practical difference about what I told you, right? If you tell me the blessings of the Torah are from the Torah, and if you tell me you tell me the blessings are from the rabbis, the practical difference is like this, right? Let's say if you don't remember if you said it or not. You forgot. Oh, hey, I don't know if I said blessings of the Torah, Somebody sent me a text, I looked at the text and I forgot. Right? So what do you do in the case that if you tell me if it's from the Torah, you have to say it again because safek deoraita le'achmir. And whatever is a doubt from the Torah, you have to be stringent, right? If you're going to tell me it's from the rabbis, then we can be lenient, right, and not say it. Safek derabanan le'akir, because the blessings of the doubts of the rabbis were lenient. So, by the way, what should you do practically, right? If you don't remember if you said it or not, should you say it again? The answer is no. Why? Because most of the poskim hold that it's not from the Torah. So then, what do? You know what you do? You go to your friend, right, who didn't bless yet, and hear it from him. Tell him, have me in mind when you say this also for me. This way he'll bless it for himself and also for you. This is how you solve the problem, you know what I mean? Kill two birds with one stone, as they say. Okay, good. That's the way it goes. Very good. Let's go on. So we're going to go to Bet Yosef. Short one. Right, it says you have to bless, as we said, right? Whether it's Bible, Midrash, Mishnah, Talmud, right? It says Bet Yosef, Hachi asikna besof per kama de brachot. That's how it's written in the end of the first perk of brachot. Yud Aleph Amud Bet. You have to bless for all these things. Very good. Let's see Shulchan Aruch on that. Says Shulchan Aruch, tzarich levarech ben mikra, ben mishnah, ben gemara, right? It's like it says, right? You have to bless in all these things, whether it's, again, right, Bible, Mishnah, Gemara, right? All these things need to be blessing. And also the Rama adds, ben the Midrash, also Midrash, as we said, right? All these things require blessings of the Torah. Okay, very simple. What about Kabbalah? You have to bless for Kabbalah? You do, but you shouldn't be learning Kabbalah. You don't know anything about Kabbalah. So stop pretending you're a Kabbalist. You can't learn Kabbalah by yourself. The only way you can learn Kabbalah is to have a special Rebbe for that, right? Who knows Kabbalah, I can teach you. By the way, don't come to me and ask me because I'm not one of those Rebbes. So don't ask me. So if we're Zoche, one day, when we learn all the Torah, then Hashem will send us a good Rebbe to teach us Kabbalah. Otherwise, stay out of that stuff. But you can read the Zohar, it's okay. To read Zohar is okay. Okay, very good. So, because Zohar is also like a midrash, it's not only the Kabbalah that we don't understand anyway.
It has many laws too.
Right, exactly. There's many halachot there. Yeah. There's midrashim. There's stories there. All kinds of things, So it's not only Kabbalah, the Zohar. Yeah. So the Kabbalah part we don't understand it anyway. So we just read it, like a bunch of monkeys, We don't know what we're talking about, like tukis, So that's the way it works. So it's okay, You're allowed to read the Zohar. It's okay. Okay, very good. So that's the story there. But as I told already, my friends, a couple of friends have asked me already about this. By the way, they asked me, Rabbi, which translation of Zohar should I buy? So I told them, I said, no such a thing like that. You're not allowed to translate the Zohar. So if you have a translation of Zohar into English, right, get rid of it because you're not allowed to translate the Zohar into English, right? So don't read the Zohar in translation. Okay, whatever, I can't tell you. It is what it is. Who told me this? Maran Rabbi Danielov. He told us, my rabbi told us, not allowed to translate the Zohar into foreign languages. Right? There are reasons for that, by the way. I'm not going to get to it now. But anyway, right? Stay away from that stuff. If you're big enough to read the Zohar, you should be big enough to know Hebrew. Otherwise, you have no business over there. First, learn Hebrew, Aleph Bet, and then get into Zohar. One step at a time, what I mean? Take baby steps. That's the way it is, right? Don't jump ahead of yourself. Okay. Very good. Let's go on. But the truth is, I have to tell you, since I told you all this already, might as well top it off at the end on top, right? So the truth is, even if you don't understand what the Zohar is saying, if you can read it in Hebrew, right, in Aramaic, you can do that because they say it's even the Zohar is so holy, it benefits you even if you don't understand what it's saying. So you can read it in the original form, if you can read Hebrew, and even though you don't understand one word, and it still benefits your neshama. Right, so therefore the Zohar is a very special book, it's a very, very special thing, So it has its own halachot, has its own rules, its own whatever. Okay, so that's the story there. So now we're going to go to Bet Yosef Gimel. So it says Bet Yosef, Katav Rabbi David Abu Rehem, right? This is this guy, by the way, this David Abu Rehem, he is like the father of the minhagim, the customs of the Sfaradim, many of our customs come from his writings. So, She'im Hishkim Lichtov B'divrei Torah. What about if a person got up in the morning, whatever, and he wants to write some words of Torah, he wants to write Torah. Let's say he's answering a question, somebody asked him a question, whatever, let's say he's writing a book, or writing an essay in Torah. So the question is, does that require also blessings of the Torah to write the Torah? So he says, you have to bless, yes. He says, you do have to bless before you write the Torah. Just like when you learn, same thing. But it says, you shouldn't be writing things which are not Torah, and then blessing for that. You can't bless on that. Okay, so Perek Habayit. V'ayin l'direi aguru b'shkachshavto v'kaman. So look at this as the words of the Agur that I'm going to write. V'siman shekodem zeh, it says in the chapter before this, katabti im yachol lomar psukim derech ritzui. That if a person, we always talked about this last week, I think, that if a person is saying supplications to Hashem in the morning, right, early morning, whatever, and there are some verses there from the Bible. So does he need to say blessings of the Torah for that? So what do we say? Right. So we said, right, the conclusion of the Bet Yosef was that it's proper to say blessings of the Torah even for that, even though you're just saying it as a form of a prayer. But since it has the verses from the Bible there, you should bless on that, right? The proper thing to do is to bless. And the Ramah said the Ashkenazim are their custom is to be lenient about that. So if they get up early, right, and they go to say slichot, they don't say Birkat Torah before slichot, and then when they finish the slichot, they say after. That's what the Ramah says. So two different customs over there. Okay, very good. So let's see the Shulchan Aruch. Says Shulchan Aruch, HaKater b'divrei Torah, if you're writing words of Torah, even though he's not reading, you still have to bless anyway. This is the rule. By the way, there's also a question which is similar to that. What about if you're just like looking at the Torah, like just reading it, but not saying it out loud? Just by heart. You're reading it by heart. Do you have to bless for that or not? So the truth is, if I remember correctly, the poskim say for that you don't require blessing, because you're not really doing anything. You're not reading it with your mouth, saying it, and you're not writing it. You're not doing any action. So therefore, if I'm not mistaken, right, the rule is that you don't need it for that. So therefore, right, we act accordingly. What would be like a practical difference? The practical difference would be that if you are just looking at some book, staring at the page and reading it silently, not pronouncing anything. So what would be is that if you said blessings for the Torah on that, right, that would not be enough to warrant that. So it may be like a blessing in vain, And that's why, by the way, in order to avoid these problems, what we do is that when we say the blessings of the Torah, we say afterwards some verses from the Bible, in order that shouldn't be a blessing in vain. That's the whole thing. Okay, we're going to talk about that later on. Right, it's coming up. Very good. Let's go on to hey. So says the Torah said, right? Right? This is the text according to the Sfaradim, right? So says Maran Bet Yosef, Pashut Sham, it says it's Pashut, Katav Arosh, says the Rosh, V'yesh Bekomot Shomrim La'asok B'divrei Torah. Some places they say like this, right? To toil in the words of Torah. And who does that? The Ashkenazim, right? The Ashkenazim say like that. Rabbeinu Yonah, so it says Rabbeinu Yonah Katav, he wrote, Shevenuschaot Meduyakot, says in the proper texts, which are precise, Matzah al Divrei Torah, right? It says like this. He says, David Avraham, and he says, Katav, this rabbi, Katav Rabbi David Avraham, al divrei Torah. He says the more proper text is al divrei Torah, like the Sfaradim do, right? Because it also includes the toil of learning, right? V'asiyat mitzvot, and doing the mitzvot. Katav Eben Yarchi. Also, this book he says, right? Because if you just say to toil in the words of Torah, it's only for reading the Torah. But it says, but it seems to me, it seems that you should push this out, right? Argue with this. On the contrary, from that particular reason, right? It's better to bless, to toil in the words of Torah. Because it's singled out, it's unique blessing the Kriyat Torah for the reading of the Torah. Shehu ba la'asok ba achshav, that he's doing right now words of Torah. Milvarech al divrei Torah. It's better than blessing al divrei Torah. Shekolel gam ken asiyat, because that includes also asiyat mitzvot, doing the mitzvot. Sheno ba achshav la'asotam. He's not right now coming to do that. Right? When he does them, he blesses on each mitzvah the blessing which is right, unique for that, relevant to that. He says, anyway, in any case, Nuschat Rambam he al divrei Torah. But it says the Rambam, his text says al divrei Torah, and that's the custom of the Sephardim, as we said, right? Bottom line. Okay, we do like the Rambam. Very good. So then he goes on. Ha'arev na Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratecha. Then you sweeten the words of Torah. That's the next part of it. Gam zeh sham. Says it's also over there in the Talmud. Rabbi Yochanan Amar. It says Rabbi Yochanan. Ha'arev na Adonai Eloheinu. Sweeten, right? Lord our God. Baruch atah Hashem. Hamalamed Torah d'amo Yisrael. That's the ending. That's the way the bracha ends. The one teaches Torah to his people. Israel. Rav Hamnuna Amar. Rav Hamnuna says differently. Asher b'charbanu, that he chose us. Mikola, I mean, from all the peoples. Baruch atah Hashem, noten haTorah. That's how he concludes it. Amar Papa. So it says Rapapa. Hilkach nimrinhu lekulhu. So he says, therefore, what we do is we see all of them. That we want to fulfill all the sides of this this discussion. So therefore, we do all these blessings. That's why we do like 3 blessings for the Torah, because we want to do every way that the Talmud relates to us. Okay, very good. So that's the story there. It goes on to say, and that which we said, that we don't seal the blessing of Ha'arev, make it sweeten, that like this, don't tell Torah, give us the Torah. That's what it says in the Rosh also. Also what he wrote, you shouldn't say this verse, because it's not a blessing, or thanksgiving, the Shavar, in the past. That's what it says in Rashi, Tosfot and Tosfot. Okay, very good. Let's see the Shulchan Aruch on this. Very nice. Okay. So says Shulchan Aruch, v'kava'u likrot parashat tamid kedeita. What is this? Oh. No, this is not where I need to be. I don't know where we got here. 1 second. Okay, here. This is the one we need. Oh, 1 second. Okay, so yeah. Right, so we have to look at the Shulchan Aruch. Hey, sorry. 1 second. So it says in Shulchan Aruch, hey, Birkat Torah, Asher Kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah, right? So he brings a Sephardi text, right? As we said, v'ha'arev na, and then ha'arev na, v'asher b'charbanu. That's the way we say the Sephardim, right? Okay, good. So, as we said, right, that the Ashkenazim, I think they have a different text a little bit. La'asok b'divrei Torah. Am I right, Buria?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. Okay, good. I know some Ashkenazi stuff. I know gefilte fish. I know some things.
Oh, well, I don't like gefilte.
Okay, you don't like gefilte fish. I like it, by the way. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you come to visit, I won't give you any. Don't worry. I'm not gonna serve you that. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, I'll make you some salmon. Okay, so right. Okay, so as we said, right, that that's the way it is. Okay, very good. So we got that. Let's go to. I think we have to do Dalet, but somehow the Bit Yosef we skipped over it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we skipped over Dalet because it's later. So I'll read it now. Let's see where this is. Oh, here it is. Okay, good. Dalet. So it says in Dalet, Katar Bagur, says the Agur, Shemisha Meharher. We already talked about this, but I already preempted this. It says, whoever just thinking about Divrei Torah, right, not talking or writing, Belibo in his heart, right, Kodem Shevarech Birkat Torah, Shapir Dame, right, Dame. So it says, you don't have to bless for that. Why? Because just thinking about Torah is not like, writing or reading, right, reading out loud, as we mentioned, right? L'inyan bracha, when it comes to the blessing, kemo l'inyan kriyat shema utfilah. Chen pasku atosot. That's what it says also in Tosfot. Perek misha meto over there in brachot kaf amud bet. Te'alacha k'Rav Chazda, you pass like Rav Chazda. Te'irhu lav k'dibur damai. That while thinking about Torah is not the same thing as talking about Torah. Chen l'inyan Baal Keri. This is also regarding the Baal Keri. Right, one was a seminal mission. Mutar le'arher. He's allowed to think about words of Torah in kriyat shema. Okay, I'm not going to get to this whole seminal mission thing now, right? It's a different discussion, but anyway, right? Just to make you understand a little bit, right? As we said, that a person who's just staring at the page, right, and reading without saying out loud, he doesn't need the blessings of the Torah for that. That's what he's saying over here, as we already mentioned, because he's not doing anything, actively. He's just staring, And by the way, that also shows you a moral lesson, right? You know what the moral lesson is? They say the Chazal, they warn us about this several times, that when you read the Torah, you shouldn't read it silently. You should say it out loud. Why is that? Because when you read silently, you don't remember so good, Goes in here, comes out over there. Passes straight through, So therefore they say, right, when you're reading the Torah, read it out loud. This way you'll remember much better. You will retain it much better. That's a very big secret, that a person has to know. It's not a secret, but for some people, they don't know it's a secret. So that's the thing, right? When you read the Torah, don't just stare at the book, You're going to fall asleep like that too, by the way. You're going to fall asleep. If you just stare at the page. Read it out loud. That's the way to do it. There's a story like this in the Gemara, right? It says over there, oh, now we're going to get to Bruria again. Wait, we're coming back to Bruria. You ready for this, Bruria? It says about Bruria in the Talmud, right? The wife of Rabbi Meir, that one time there was a certain Chacham, and she saw that he was, learning quietly, he wasn't saying out loud the words of the Torah, just, staring at the page, as they say, So what happened was she came up to him, and she gave him a nice big kick, She kicked him, says, what's wrong with you, You imbecile. Why are you reading quietly? Don't you know you have to read the words of Torah out loud? What's wrong with you? She was a tough lady. This lady. She was tough. So that's the way it is. So she didn't mind kicking people a little bit, smacking them around a little bit. She didn't mind. She had no problem with that. So, by the way, you may think this only comes from the Talmud, but the truth is, I heard there was a true story. the Ben Ish Chai, who was about 100 years ago, right? Not really so far back. So they say about him, that he had a sister, and she was a very zealous lady, this lady, very tough lady, one of those Iraqi zealous ladies, So, so what happened was that one time she was in shul, and she heard, when they were reading the Torah, she heard one guy, who was like talking, during the Torah reading, and she got incensed by this, really incensed her. So after they walked out, of shul, what do you call it? She didn't want to, I guess, yell inside the shul or whatever. So when they walked out of the shul, she confronted this guy, and she came to him and she said, "Shame on you! Why do you talk, when they're reading the Torah? Shame on you!" She yelled at him, So, so what happened was that this guy was a wise guy, he was one of those jokers, So he started to like joke around with her, like fool around, josh around with her, mocking her and stuff. So you know what she did, right? She picked up her hand, gave him a nice big smack in his face, smacked him in his face, right in front of everybody. That's what she did. She was a tough lady, this lady. So you see, we have some tough ladies in Judaism, Jewish people, we got some tough ladies. Okay, that's the way it is. Okay, very good. So as we said, right, that when it comes to just thinking about Torah, you don't have to, right? And by the way, as we said, right, that it's not the proper way to learn like that. That's one thing. Also, another thing I want to tell you is that you get less reward like that as well. If you don't say it out loud, the words of Torah, they don't reward you because it's not really considered to be like study so much. They don't consider it like to be studying when you read quietly, because you're not doing anything. Like your body is not moving, your hands are not moving, your mouth is not moving. You're just standing there like a mummy. So that's not good. That's not the way to learn Torah. Of course, by the way, I want to tell you, right? We'll finish up here. I don't want to keep you too long, but it doesn't apply when a person is like, doing some iyun, like he's thinking about something, So when a person is thinking about some Torah, some depths of some questions, he doesn't have to say everything out loud because this is just a thought pattern which is going on in his head. But we're talking about when you're actually reading from a text, that you should say out loud from the text of the book, Say it out loud. Don't just look at it and daydream, like some count sheep on the ceiling. That's not the way to do it. You know what I mean? So, okay, very good. So we'll see the Shulchan Aruch and we'll finish there.
Question.
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, could you just distinguish again between when we first were learning this, you said that if you're just like thinking about it from memory as opposed to reading it. So if you're reading it silently to yourself, you're not like, I know you should read it out loud, but let's just say you're just reading it quietly to yourself, but you're not saying the words. Do you still bless on it?
So as we said, right, that if you're not saying anything, you don't bless. You don't need to bless.
Okay, so if I'm just reading it, but I'm reading it out of the Torah itself, out of the
whatever book it may be, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't make any difference what book it is. If you're not saying it out loud or you're not writing anything, then we don't bless on it.
Okay, because I thought you said earlier that it was just if you were like reciting it in your head from memory.
No, not exactly. What I meant to say is like this, right? There's two types of study, There's like something which is called gores. So gores means like you're just like reading the text, That's one thing. So that you should do out loud. But there's also another type of study which is iyun, like when you're analyzing things, analytical study. So that you don't have to do out loud because, you need to think, you concentrate better when you do it silently. You know what I mean?
Okay, so unless you're saying it out loud, you don't bless on it.
Absolutely, right. That's what it is. Okay. But as I said, right, as I mentioned, I don't want to get you confused. As I mentioned, right, when you get up in the morning, we say the blessings of the Torah, and then we say some verses afterwards, by daber, right? And why do we do that? Because just in case, you didn't say any the words of Torah afterwards, you're going to fulfill your obligation with those words of Torah. So therefore, since we do it that way, whatever you do subsequently, it doesn't really matter anymore so much. You know what I mean? What I mean to say is that you're not obligated to say for that. you know. But if you're doing it just because, you know, you do it every day like that, you know, you say words of, you say blessings of Torah. So of course you should say it, you know, it's like, you know, it's a daily routine. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Great. Okay, great. Fantastic. So let's see the Shulchan Aruch, and we're done with that. So it says in Shulchan Aruch, Torah, a person who's just thinking about words of Torah and not doesn't need to bless for that. So says the Rama, oh, look what it says, right? The Rama says something interesting. It brings it from the Ran, right? That what? That if, let's say they come to the rabbi to paskin halacha, right? Okay, Rabbi, what's the halacha? So the rabbi can paskin without saying the blessings of the Torah. But don't give reasons, you know, why you say that way. That would already require, you know, to say them. But just to give an answer, you know, like a quick answer. Because, I mean, after all, you're providing a service, you know, for the community. So it's not really like you're studying Torah. It's just like, you know, you're doing your job. I mean, so therefore, just to paskin the halacha for somebody, you don't need to, you know, to say blessings for the Torah for that. That's what the Rama is saying. Interesting concept. Okay, very
arguably, though, wouldn't the rabbi have said his blessing in the morning anyway?
Yeah, that's for sure. But we're talking, you know what it is? We're talking here about like when a person gets up in the wee hours of the night, you know, and he wants to study or whatever, you know. So
people get up in the wee hours in the night and wake you up and say, "Hey, can you paskin for me?"
Right. So somebody calls him or you text him, you know, WhatsApp. He gets a WhatsApp, you know, at 4:00 in the morning. By the way, I get those. Believe me. If you don't believe me, I'll send you them. I'll send you some. I get my 4 a.m. WhatsApps sometimes, you know, paskin halacha. What's the halacha here? What's the halacha there? So, you know, if you want to do that, right, that's what we're talking about, right? Something like that. So just to say it's mutar or asur, you don't need to say Birkat Torah for that, right? You know what I mean? That's what he's trying to say. Okay, very good. Chazak Baruch, thanks for coming. Nice to see you. Have a great week. We're getting close to Pesach. Get ready for Pesach. If you have any questions, ask the questions about Pesach, B'ezras Hashem. And don't be shy. And Chazak Baruch, be blessed with wealth, health, happiness, all the good things. See you tomorrow. Amen, amen. All the best. Chazak Baruch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.